Good morning. Humanity seriously wants to thrive. That's the title for today. Yes, I'm referring to two movies, documentaries, released into the mainstream. Sirius was released yesterday, and because many people are sharing it openly online, I was able to watch all except the final 5 minutes. I'm glad this will be viewed by people outside the truth movement, just as Thrive was when it was released last year. I want to commend both Foster Gamble and Stephen Greer for having the courage to release the truth about the massive conspiracy in our world that is run by the international bankers and their minions, including governments at all levels, corporations, education system, mainstream media, and virtually every aspect of life on planet Earth. Correcting this imbalance, to me, is the most important part of our awakening, of the awakening for humans. Once this cabal is removed or incapacitated, things on Earth can stabilize enough for a really big awakening. Until then, the chaos will continue and prevent the kind of thriving that is possible. Let me begin by saying all of my videos, I am expressing my own opinion in all of them. Someone said that I'm not making that clear, and I almost was going to go back this morning and listen to yesterday's video because that's where the criticism came. Like I'm talking like this is the bottom line fact, this is the absolute truth, and not presenting it as opinion. All of what I'm presenting is my opinion. And even when I present it as if it's fact to me, but it might not be fact to everybody else. Because we all have our own process of awakening and coming to know the truth. There are certain things that I have no doubt about. And there are other things that I do still struggle with. And I wish I didn't have to struggle with all of those things, but I do. We each have our areas of insecurity. We each have our areas where we're skeptical and where we're not convinced. And they're different areas for different people. And I'm acknowledging that. And wherever you are, be there. But it's not my job to enter into war with anybody or arguments with anybody about points of view. I mean, people say about the OPPT that are negative toward it. They say, Ron's already made up his mind. Yes, I have. That doesn't mean I haven't looked at some of the other things, but when I start reading them and they say things that are blatantly untrue, and they're not presenting the facts and they haven't rebutted the UCC filings, there is nothing to look at anymore. I've looked at them. I've looked at even the criticism of the courtesy notices. That's supposed to be just absolute fact. Well, it's as I read through some of that, it wasn't absolute fact to me. It was more opinion. And we all have our opinions. We all do. And what I present in my YouTube videos and my Facebook are my opinions. And I have that right to present my opinions and my view of what is factual and what isn't. But I'm not going to enter into arguments. It drains energy. It has no value because you that disagree with me, you have your own point of view. And I'm certainly not going to go on your wall in Facebook or on your YouTube channel and argue with you. That's not my job. And if you think it's your job to argue with me, I'm telling you, you're going to have to argue by yourself because ultimately, if you keep it up, I'm just going to cut you off. I don't have to put up with arguments. I'm not in this thing to argue. I'm in this thing to do my best to uplift myself and to uplift those who resonate with me. And that's the way it's going to be. Now, there was also some criticism about from one of my good friends. I mean, I really resonate with him a lot, Peter Van Run, and he's concerned that the Swiss Indo is something wrong with it. That's his resonance. That there's, or I should say, that's his dissonance. He doesn't agree with the Swiss Indo. I don't know anything about the Swiss Indo, and I don't care what roles anybody plays. I expect surprises in this world as things begin to come to a head and to reach some level of stability. My concern is that people stop having their homes stolen, stop being ripped off by a corrupt system, and that they stop having their lives and their freedom threatened against their will. I mean, these are things that really, really concern me, that people are suffering because of chemtrails and because of GMO food modifications and making food not food anymore, and companies like Monsanto, but worse, corporations like the United States of America and the uh, Commonwealth of Canada and the Commonwealth of Australia and what, you name it, These are the things that concern me, and we need to change whoever is giving the orders. And I don't care how it stabilizes. It's not going to happen click, 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 and all of a sudden we're living in a perfect world. That's just not going to happen. But what will happen, what must happen, is that the power structure needs to be put in a place where it no longer can exercise the level of threats that it's been able to exercise with impunity for such a long time. And it's really important that movies like Sirius and like Thrive continue to impact society, to wake people up to the truth about how corrupt our governments are, especially the United States government, the most corrupt of all, perhaps, because it is the one that plays the military arm of the whole world. It is the one that goes out and does all these police actions against the world, trying to get them to toe the line with the international bankers' system of oil and fiat currencies and stuff like that. That all has to come down, folks. That all has to change. And it's movies like Sirius and Thrive that people in the mainstream get to watch because they're produced by people that have gained at least some level of respect within the mainstream community. Stephen Greer, of course, has been to the White House and interacted with people at the Pentagon and in Congress and whatnot. He has the ear of people that are in high places, and it's important that people in high places begin to change. And I do believe, as I said yesterday, that there are lots of people in the world, even among the elite, that do want to do what's right for the world. Now, there are those that don't, and I do believe there's a lot of disarray that's going on in the higher echelons of the elite establishment. I do believe that there are battles all the time happening between segments of the cabal, but the cabal needs to collapse because I can't feel safe in my home, and other people can't feel safe in their lives as long as there is the threat of theft of our freedom, theft of our property, theft of our being. This has to end. It has to stabilize it somewhere. And I don't care what the mechanism is. I don't care who the players are. I don't care if it's Rothschild or Rockefeller or anybody, as long as they back off enough to allow an increase that at least addresses the imbalance that there has been, and that the mainstream media starts picking up on some truth issues and bringing them to the people. I don't know what was his name, Glenn Beck. I don't know what he did on Monday. I haven't heard anything. I know he made the big threat on Friday and gave an ultimatum that they had to come out with the truth by Monday about the Boston Massacre thing. But I don't know how he followed up, if he followed up. I have no clue. But there's so much happening in this world, and I'm all about wanting there to be at least more of a calm, to calm it down, to take the threats away. Now, I don't know if that's even realistic, but it's what I want. It's what I want to see happen in the world. It's not important so much what happens inside of me, because I can go to a place of peace and find a place of peace inside of me till I bring it back into the world, until I put it back into my daily life, if you will. And then I have to face the fact that I'm insecure in my own home. And that's something that I don't want to have to keep dealing with, because it affects every other aspect of my life. It affects my ability to travel. It affects my ability to have relationships. It affects my ability for lots of things, because I don't know the timetable. If I know that the truth is going to win. I know that love is going to prevail. I know there's nothing going to stop the awakening. I know that God has a plan, and that God uses everything according to his own will to work out that plan. Everything is being worked out by the divine intelligence, if you will, that created the entire structure of our world and of our universe and of our cosmos. Everything was created for a purpose, and I believe we're at the end of that evolutionary process, not at the end of all evolutionary process, but this step. And this step is to bring us into the golden age. This is what I have felt from the earliest stages of my life, that I expressed as establishing the kingdom of heaven on earth. This is what I've wanted. This is what I believe I'm here for. It's my purpose. It's my mission. It's my goal. It's my reason for being. I'm here to help establish the kingdom of heaven on earth to the best of my ability. And I'm doing it to the best of my ability. But I'm going to do it by expressing my opinions. I'm going to express the truth about what I feel. And I'm going to do my best to identify this is what I'm feeling. I'm not going to label it good or bad, even though other people do, even though I do sometimes myself. I know that ultimately whatever I feel is what I feel. And I'm being truthful. That was the most important thing. The most important thing when I began these videos, and Spirit impressed upon me. It didn't happen on the first video, but at some point along the line, the thing was just simply tell the truth. Whatever is in front of you, Ron, whatever feelings are coming up, whatever thoughts are coming up, whatever you're dealing with, that's what you present. That's what you present, and that's what I've tried to do since January 2011. That's what I've been doing. And they are my opinions. But I do believe seriously that if we each come to the place within our own selves where we say, what do I want? What do I want? All humans want to be able to thrive. They want to be able to be left alone. They'd like to be able to live without fear, and that includes the elite. You think they do what they do because they're confident? Give me a break. They do what they do because they're scared out of their wits, because they're playing on the wrong side of evolution. They're playing the dark roles. That's got to be the greatest insecurity of all, and it's got to require the greatest numbing of the conscience of all, the greatest amnesia of all. They're playing with a stacked deck, and intuitively, even if they're not consciously aware of it, it eggs at their conscience. It eggs at their being. They try to shut it off. They've done all sorts of things to try to shut it off, but it doesn't shut off, does it, folks? We don't shut off our shadow just because we don't like its energy, just because we label it negative, just because we're afraid of it. It doesn't shut it off, because there's a plan being worked out. There's a plan that Spirit has, God has, Creator has, to bring creation to a level where we can once again experience the opposite, an antiadromia, the reverse flow of the negative energy that we've been experiencing, and we can go to the other side of that and feel the feel the rapture, feel the delight, feel the bliss, feel the creative juices flowing again, and not have them blocked by people that are trying to maintain the old structure and the status quo of everything. This is where we're at today on the 24th of April in 2013. This is where we are as I see it, as I see it. I'm sharing my perceptions, my vision, my opinions. It's how I see it. And I want to encourage each of you to do what I'm doing, do the best we can to maintain an attitude of expectation, an attitude of hope, an attitude of compassion. Do your ho'oponopono. Recognize that each of us is responsible for the whole, and the whole is responsible to each of us. All creation serves itself, and everything has a part to play. Everyone has a role to play. And as much as possible, live at peace. And the greater the fear you have, the more difficult that is. I know. I experience the same thing. I'm part of the human family, part of the human drama. And so are you. If you're in a human body, you're part of it. If you're listening to me, you're part of it. It doesn't matter if you have great connections with the ETs or the angels or God or spiritual masters or whatever. It doesn't matter. You're in a human body. You're here having a human experience. Let's work together. Let's work together to bring about as peaceful a transition as possible so that we can all thrive seriously. Thank you for listening. Namaste.